And at some point in time, the next county executive and the next county council are going to have to get in a room together and say, okay, what are our priorities?
Yeah.
Are we going to fund public safety, public education, and public health? And are we going to fund them adequately so that they perform as intended? Or are we going to reduce each one of those and fund all of these other constituent services?
Well, a lot of inflated egos are going to have to deflate because it's absurd. We are not in good shape. And by the way, us, to get back to another point that has been a bugaboo for years with both of us, a city of 60,000 people, and as you said, larger than some counties in the state of Maryland.
Larger than 8 of Maryland's
We
counties.
do not have any park and planning authority.
No. That is, in my view, and I
think it's outrageous.
Unhesitating. If Bowie were in any county in the state other than Prince George's, this would not be an issue.
No, it wouldn't be.
Every municipality across the state, and you draw the comparisons between the Prince George's branch,
including our neighbor Laurel.
Yeah, but look at how Montgomery County operates in the Park and Planning Commission operates in Prince George's and Montgomery County. Ostensibly, it's one organization split into 2 parts, but they're 180 degrees apart.
Oh yeah.
In Montgomery County, recreation is a function of the county executive. In Prince George's, it's a function of the Park and Planning Commission. In Montgomery County, land use decisions are done by municipal governments if it's within their boundaries, or the county if it's outside the municipality. In Prince George's, it's done by the same bureaucracy that's been in existence since 1920.
And they haven't done a very good job of it.
And they are more often than not indifferent to the effect of their decisions.
Oh, you know that.
I mean, if I tell people the biggest disappointment I've been doing this job about 10 years now, and the one thing that I would love to be able to accomplish for future mayors is to be able to acquire land use decision-making authority. Yes. Another thing that came up, this past year, the legislature, to the surprise of some of our delegate friends, passed a bill that applied a tax cap to the Prince George's County side of Park and Planning Commission. And everybody was raising a big hullabaloo. Oh, this is going to cripple our operation. The Montgomery County side has had that cap for 20 years.
Yeah.
And so you sit there and you say, why are these dramatic differences? Somebody has to ask the fundamental question of, when this organization was formed, like in 1915, 1920, all the growth in the area was coming from the west, coming from D.C. out.
Yeah.
Now most of our growth is coming from the east, it's coming from the north, and I think we've really outgrown the concept of having a Mother May I organization sit back and review maybe I'm overly simplistic here. I think the county executive ought to propose land use decisions and zoning issues, and the county council ought to approve or disapprove.
Well, I had on this show a couple of weeks ago, 2-term former county executive Paris Glendenning, former 2-term governor Paris Glendenning, and he agrees with you.
Yeah.
He says they screwed it up so badly now that, and he gave an example in Bowie. He says, just go right down Route 3, 301.
Look at the corridor.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest fight we've always had is keeping water and sewer from the east side of 301.
Yeah.
Because that inhibits the growth over there by not having it. As soon as water and sewer go to the east, then that whole corridor will change probably overnight. And it'll become a Waldorf or a Glen Burnie. Now, I'm for tax base expansion. One of the numbers I am most proud of is that in the 10 years that I've been mayor, we've gone from a tax base of a little over $1 billion to one over $7 billion. And that's because we've been able to attract businesses and employers to the city, because that's what you have to do for the city to grow. But you don't just need hell-bent for leather. Development.
Oh, I know.
And that's what I'm concerned about.
And some of it's terrible development, you know that.
Yeah. Well,
and I also object to paying taxes to the Maryland Park and Planning Commission. Jeez.
Well, like I say, and people don't realize that your tax assessment to park and planning is only about 8 or 10 cents less than your total tax applied to the city.
I know.
And you look at the services that you get
the city provides
from either or both of those. you know, the county does, the Park and Planning Commission on the park side does provide service in a number of parks in the area. You know, Fox Hill Park is a good example of something to do.
But the city provides most of our recreational
most of the
activity.
recreation in the city comes from it. You look at Allen Pond, you look at White Marsh, you look at all
Senior Center, the gym, it goes on and on.
All of it's done by the city.
Yeah.
And we should be proud of that. But at the same token, I think that suggests why we should be more independent.
Oh, I agree.
And I'm not really sure that it's appropriate for us to be paying the same kind of levy to park and planning. For example, I'll give you another quick example. Now, the relationship we have with the county, if the city provides a service...
There is one?
Yeah. If the city provides a service vis-a-vis the police department that the county would have to provide if it weren't here, what the county does is lowers our tax rate, our county property tax rate, as the city's tax rate rises a bit. Now, this year, city taxes went up 2 cents to cover some of the cost of that. Our county taxes went down 5 cents because we were able to negotiate this tax differential.
Except our tax appraisals, the housing appraisals are way too high.
Well, what's going to happen, one of the reasons we were looking at the concern for this year's budget is, like I say, we try to look ahead.
Yeah.
And we're anticipating this next 3-year cycle of assessments to show that the assessed values of some of the residential properties will tend to tail off a bit. So we're trying to put ourselves in a position so that whatever contingency occurs, we'll have a plan in place to deal with it. And we call that fundamental planning.
Yeah.
It's an alien life form for some other governments.
Oh, yes.
But my sense is if that works for the city and the county, it would seem to me that that same template should apply to our park and planning taxes. If we're providing recreational amenities for us, then why are we paying the same rate to the Park and Planning Commission?
But do you think, Fred, in all honesty, that cooperation between this very, very large city and the county government is ever going to materialize? For instance, we have a county council member who just seems out of the loop. We have somebody running for county executive, the Sam Dean, who represented a portion of Bowie when he was on the county council, who wouldn't even return phone calls from city officials. I mean, what kind of crap is this? How are we going to fix it?
Well,
or is it not fixable?
Well, it is so dependent on the personality that sits in there. On a personal basis, I have a fairly decent relationship with the county executive, and you know, the kind of relationship we can have a very candid conversation about. In all candor, you know,
you're not stretching the truth there.
No, you don't have that same relationship with the 9 members of the county council.
Oh gosh, no.
Because the way the council is structured, there are 9 little fiefdoms.
Yeah.
And each council member is the chief of their fiefdom. And it's hard to get people to look at things from a countywide perspective or the city's perspective, unless it's something that they want. Like, you know, when we start talking about land use, they say, oh, we can't do that because we have to have a countywide perspective.
But you also have to admit,
the other way.
There were times, actually almost from the beginning until currently, we had county council members who had Bowie's interests at heart, who worked like hell for it and got stuff.
Yeah, I will tell you, you know, there's been some ups and downs over the years, but I tell you, like, the best we had was when, quite frankly, when was now Senator Peters, Doug Peters.
Yeah.
Doug would call me 2 or 3 times a week.
Oh, yeah.
What do we need? This is where we're going. What do you think about
he'd get it.
Yeah, but I mean, he would take the steps and say, look, this is coming up for the council thing. What do you think, what's the city's view on this? Or what is the council's view on this? How can we work these things together? That kind of level of communication doesn't exist.
No.
And, you know, in all candor, Doug was very successful in getting a new elementary school for us. And it was helpful in getting the fire department to, you know, to relocate here, the 4th building here.
Yeah.
And a couple of other conditions that were very helpful. You know,
I think
I don't have that same level now.
In bringing candor to the forefront, you did run against her, Ingrid Turner, and she came in with a landslide overview of what, 54 votes? 50 votes. Even Audrey Scott delivered more for the city than this one does.
Well,
despite great
it's kind of hard to
differences.
get into personalities sometimes. I mean,